Hey guys, we are in the basement, and today guys, we are gonna do, well, it's kind of a John's Arcade Tech video. This is a graphic design video, our first one. Yes, I know we've been talking about doing a graphic design video for a while, but really this is gonna be another part in the iRobot restoration, because in this video, guys, we need to make something. We're gonna make something and we're gonna put it on our iRobot, and we're talking, of course, about the bezel. Now, I'm not gonna be making the cardboard bezel, okay? Because iRobot, and by the way, my iRobot right now has no bezel. It's naked and it's ugly, and it needs a bezel badly to finish it off. And I made a wanted to buy post on Cloth trying to find an original one, because the original one was black cardboard and it had some artwork on the bottom, and no one reproduces it fully, okay? Joey Kuda on Cloth makes the cardboard, but not the artwork. There was a sticker that went right on the bottom, okay? And there was a guy a long time ago that made the sticker and sold it, but he long sold out, like 8 years ago. So out there's just no reproduction available, okay? And actually, Accurate Mold on Cloth, now Accurate Mold actually makes the control panel stickers that go on the plastic control panel. He messaged me on Cloth and says, hey John, if you go over to Iron Pool, there's actually a scan of the sticker, so maybe you could print that out and use that. So that's what we're gonna do in this video. But the scan is rough, okay? It's someone basically just scanned like a new old stock sticker, and it's got all kinds of hickeys and marks, and it's crooked, and the colors are all off. And so we're gonna clean it up in this video. And this is gonna be kind of, again, one of our first graphic design videos. Now this video, we're gonna be focusing on Photoshop and raster images, okay? And raster images are like photographs, scans, stuff like that. So that's what we're gonna be covering in this video. We're gonna take a scan from the internet, we're gonna get it ready for print, we're gonna clean it up, and then we're gonna send it off to Staples. So why don't we go over to the computer here, and then in a later video we'll address vector artwork, where we're gonna make something from scratch. You know, like maybe a control panel, or a custom control panel, or marquee or something. I'll show you guys how to do that in Illustrator and do that kind of in a vector world. But this video is going to be raster, Photoshop. I'm not going to recreate this sticker. There's just no need to, because the scan that's out there is good enough. The resolution is pretty decent, and really we just need to clean it up and get it ready for print, and get it in the right dimensions, and then send it over to Staples. So anyway, all right, why don't we get set up here? And I'll do my best here to set up the camera, but I'm going to go ahead and get this all set up. We're going to work in Photoshop, and I'll just kind of show you guys my workflow when in Photoshop to get things ready for print for arcade artwork. So, all right, guys, let's get set up and get to work. Okay, we're all set up here. We're doing it kind of old school. I don't have a capture card or anything. So anyway, all right, so I went to this ironpool.net website, and actually Accurate Mold on Cloth, who sold me the control panel stickers, told me to go here because they have a scan of the bezel decal, which is what we need. So if you go to ironpool.net, which is IONPOOL.net, and this is kind of an old school website. It's been around forever and just has tons of documentation and just archival information about stuff in this hobby. And it's a great website, you know, to just go there on your iPad one night in bed and just poke around in here. There's lots of really good stuff to read. So anyway, in the top here, they have the Atari section, and we'll come down to iRobot and go to the technical page, which is this page here. And so this is a kind of a compilation of all things iRobot. You got manual schematics, 49-way joystick, the Hall effect hack, PCB images. There's just all kinds of stuff here. Just kind of archival stuff. And then if we come down even further, it says iRobot artwork. Okay, so we click on that. Here's all kinds of iRobot artwork. There's a scan of the marquee here, which actually looks pretty good. Like it was cleaned up a little bit. Someone vectorized the fire buttons here. You know, just pretty much all the little artwork pieces. The side art's not here. But they do have the iRobot monitor bezel, which is what we need. So here it is right here. And if we zoom in on it, you can see it's a little rough. It's just a raw scan. It's dirty right here. So we're gonna have to clean it up. And if you look at the edges here, you can kind of see the adhesive backer. So this is literally just a scan of like a new old stock sticker, because originally this was a sticker that was stuck on a cardboard bezel. So what we can do here then is just kind of copy the image, okay, and come into Photoshop, and we're using Photoshop CC. I'm a Creative Cloud subscriber, and if we go Apple New or Control New, Control N, it'll create a new document. Now it's going to automatically create the document, the canvas, to the size of what is in the clipboard. And right now that JPEG is in the clipboard. So if we hit OK, it automatically makes the canvas the size of what's in the clipboard. And if we hit Control V or paste, it pastes the image right here. And you can see, bam, it's exactly the right size, the canvas. Okay, so now again, this is raw here. This is a raw scan. We got raw edges here. We can't have this, okay? And it's not straight. The scan is not straight. You can see it's crooked. So the first thing I want to do is I want to straighten this out a little bit, and I'm going to use the rulers to help me. So I'm going to go to View Rulers, okay? And then you can go to the top of the ruler and just drag guides down. And I'm just going to drag a guide right here, and we're going to use that as a visual reference to get this thing square on here, okay? And I'm just gonna drag this to all the edges, okay? And let's see if we can get this one. I'm not really getting this guide here very good. So let's come in here, and I'm just gonna kind of guide it. All I'm doing is I'm going up to the ruler, I'm clicking, and I'm dragging down, then you can pull guides in, okay? So we got guides in there, and you can see that it's not straight, okay? So right here, if you look there, see how that is? And then if we come over here, it is straight, right? So it's just not perfectly straight all the way across. So to fix that, I'm gonna hit Control T or go to Edit Transform, and then we can kind of rotate this canvas now. And so I'm gonna rotate this till I get it straight with the guides, okay? And I'm just kind of eyeballing this. And we can kind of zoom in while we do it. And you can see that it's not good right there. So let's come in here and just get this as straight and square as we can. And just go down the line. I'm just kind of inspecting it as we go. And it's not really square at all. So let's just kind of zoom out a little bit. And it's pretty close. Okay, I think that's pretty close, pretty good. So I'm gonna hit Enter to apply that, and then we can kind of double check right here, and I'll drag a guide down to this artwork, and I'm just dragging guides down to just double check that my lines are all straight, and that is actually very straight. And then let's check our vertical lines, and we'll just do some spot checks in a couple different areas. And in general, I feel pretty good about this, okay? So what we're doing right now is we're cleaning up a raster image. I'm not really interested in revectorizing this. I think that there's enough information here to print this at Staples, and I don't need to go through the hassle of opening this in Illustrator and sitting there and trying to recreate this whole thing. Because it would be kind of tricky to recreate, because you have all these halftones in here. I mean, see this? So the halftone, like, they kind of created the orange color with red and yellow dots. They did like a yellow fill and then put red dots over it, and that kind of gives the illusion of orange in here. But really, it's two colors. It's red and yellow. So if you were to zoom in, this is just like regular printing on a printing press. So when they printed this thing, they printed it with three colors, red, black, and yellow. And I don't know if it was originally silk screened or what. And so they did three colors, red, black, and yellow. The white is the color of the paper. And so they basically got four colors out of three colors by doing this halftone effect in here, which kind of gives the illusion of a fourth color that was used in the shading area. Okay, so I feel pretty good about how this looks. It all looks pretty square. What I want to do now, though, is I'm going to crop this. I'm actually going to clear the guides because I'm going to add new guides right now. So I'm going to go clear guides. Let's get rid of all those guides. And I'm just going to draw. I'm going to come in really close. And I'm going to come in and put new guides where we want to crop it. So right there, and then right down here. Okay, let's go on this edge over here. And I'm trying to get as close to the edge as we can. And then let's go put one over here. And I'm going to crop to these guides. Okay. That looks pretty good, okay? So we got our guides where we want to crop it, and I'm just gonna then just use the crop tool, and it'll just kind of snap to the guides. And the crop tool is this little doohickey right here. Okay, so we just cropped it, and we got rid of all that rough paper that was out over there on the edges. So let's clear our guides. And so that looks pretty good. Let's go on the bottom here. Just kind of take a peek. I think that's okay. All right. So now we got to figure out if this is the right size. Okay. We want this to be 300 DPI, which is kind of the standard for printing. With digital printing, you can get away with 150 DPI, but if we have enough information here, I want this to be 300 DPI. So if we come in and look at the image size, it's actually 72 DPI, which is the screen, but it's 63 inches wide by 20.778 inches tall, which is just way too big. Okay. So we need to figure out how big this thing was originally, and I don't know because I don't have one to measure. And so I did some Googling, and I came to the Roth blog website, and he talks about this guy that recreated the iRobot bezel sticker, printed them out, and was selling them. And I'm like, wow, this is great, but this article is from 2007. And actually on the Roth blog's website, they actually mentioned that the dimensions should be 5 1/8 by 15 1/4. My God, the dimensions are right there, 5 1/8 by 15 1/4. And it says we can go here to visit Brett's website for a write-up on it. And you can see here he did a very limited run of these stickers. They're all sold out now. And there were two variations. There was the yellow, and the red, and then there was the prototype one, which was blue. If you guys can see, the original one, the prototype one had a blue square on the left, and then red, yellow, and then the production one was yellow, red, yellow, and that's the one we're gonna do. We're not gonna even bother trying to recreate the blue, red, yellow. But if we scroll down on his site, and he shows it applied on the bezel, it's all sold out, blah, blah, blah. But he does mention down here, it is 5 1/8 by 15 1/4. So it's 5 1/8 inch is by 15 1/4. So that is just amazing information that we found on the internet. So we want to scale ours here to 5 1/8 and 15 1/4. So I'm going to go to image size, and so we want to make it 5 1/8 by 15 1/4 inch wide. Now when we do this though, I'm going to convert it to 300 DPI, okay? And we can get away with this, okay? Because it was originally 19.4 megabytes, okay? So that's how much data we have. So if we convert it to 72 to 300, it goes up to 19.7 megs. So we are essentially enlarging it a little bit, but just a little tiny bit, only 0.3 of a meg. Now we need to get it to 15 1/4 by 5 1/8, which is 5.125 inches. So I'm not really sure if this scan is flat and square and right, or if it's distorted. So I have kind of a choice to make right here. Do I just leave it 15 1/4, or do I stretch it a little tiny bit to 5 1/8 tall so we get the exact dimensions? Because I think our crop is pretty much on the money to what the original piece was. So I think I'm actually just gonna do this, and this is a bit of a no-no. You don't normally wanna stretch things, but I suspect that if I change this to 5 1/4 tall and 15 1/4 wide, it's gonna stretch it just a teeny tiny bit up, but we're gonna end up with the exact dimensions that it's supposed to be, I believe, and I think it's gonna look just fine. So let's see what happens when we do that. So right now it's going from 19.4 megs to 20.1 megs. So we are scaling it up a little bit, but I don't think we're gonna notice that at all, especially with digital printing, because you can usually get away with 150 DPI. So let's see what happens, how it looks. Okay, so there we go. So now it is exactly the dimensions that the article mentions it should be. And let me just double check my squareness down here. It looks a little, no, it's right on the money. So there we go. So we have 15 1/4 by 5 1/8, and now we need to kind of adjust our colors. It looks right to me. It doesn't look stretched. So I think that was okay what we did right there. So let's adjust our colors first. So I want to put this in image mode, and if we go on the top here, I'm going to do image mode CMYK, because when you're printing, you always want to work in CMYK, not RGB. So I'm going to convert the document to CMYK. Okay, and it's going to It is gonna change our colors a little bit. CMYK is not as bright of a palette as RGB. And I'm gonna say don't flatten, it doesn't really matter. Okay, it didn't actually change the colors too much. And when you flatten it, it basically would just take our background and just get rid of it. The background's just back here doing nothing, to be honest, so you could do flatten or not flatten. Okay, so here it is in CMYK now. That's the correct color mode we want for printing. And now we want to adjust the colors, okay? The first thing I want to do is I want to play with the levels and get our blacks nice and black. So I'm going to go to Image, Adjust Levels, okay? And then we're presented with this little thing here, okay? So if we move the slider on the right, it's going to kind of brighten our image. And if we move the slider on the left, it's going to really darken our blacks, okay? And you can see how it's turning that background color from that kind of gray to a black. And it's also kind of cleaning up stuff all at once, getting rid of a lot of these little scratches and marks that you could see in here. So I'm going to go ahead and slide this far left slider till the blacks are nice and black, and really pay attention to my colors and make sure it's not messing with them too much, okay? And then I'm going to come here on the left slider and just kind of adjust our light slider on the left, and just pay attention to what it's doing to our yellows and our reds. And I don't want it to wash them out or blow them out. I want to have a nice contrast between the shaded front block and the top here. So I'm just going to push this one in just a little bit there. And then our mid right here, I'm just going to adjust this. And that already looks really good, okay? So I feel pretty good about that. And I'm just kind of manually doing that. You can also do it with the eyedroppers over here. If you take this far left eyedropper, and this is telling the thing where the blacks are, so you can come in here and say, this is what should be black, okay? And it didn't actually do a very good job. It didn't go as extreme as I wanted. We'd have to kind of come in here and get some of this stuff. And then you can come with the other white, this far right eyedropper, and say, this should be white. And then it'll adjust everything around that. I kind of like doing it more by eye. So let's come in here again and just adjust our blacks till the black is really black. And just make sure it doesn't blow out that. And then let's take our right slider and adjust it till we have a nice contrast between these two, the orange and the yellow. And then we'll move our center mid one till we get like a nice balance between everything. And I think that looks pretty good, okay? So if we zoom in, we can see our blacks are really black, okay? And it got rid of a lot of the imperfections, okay? We still have some, but not many. Like right here, there's some little hickeys and stuff. So we're gonna get rid of that stuff right now. And it's actually pretty easy to do that now in Photoshop. Before, back in the day, you have to use the clone tool or something. Now you can just use this fill thing. So we could just take our lasso tool and we could just circle around what is wrong, okay? Like so. Can you guys see that? Okay, so I just circled around that little hickey, okay? And if I come up to the top and I go Edit, Fill, which is also Shift F5, okay? And then this little dialog box pops up here and says Fill Content Aware, hit OK, and bam, it just got rid of that. And I could just do that in all these little imperfections. Shift F5, OK. Just circle what you want to get rid of, and then it just kind of fills it in with what's around it. And it's really nice. And over here, there's a little doohickey. So I'm just going through here and just cleaning up everything. And I'm just circling this stuff that is clearly not right and getting rid of it. Like right here, there's something. And sometimes it gets a little confused and you gotta do it twice. That's actually dirt on my monitor. Okay, so right in here, you could see there's this big ugly mark, okay? And that shouldn't be there. So I'm gonna come in here and just circle this. And I'm gonna go Shift F5. And there we go, it just kind of gets rid of it. And we're gonna come in a little closer to the edge in here. Shift F5. And you can see, it's just getting rid of all those imperfections. Shift F5. And I'm just using the lasso tool, and that was the freeform one. You can use the polygon one, which is more straight lines. And we can kind of go up to the edge there. And Shift F5. And see, I was a little too close to the edge, so it kind of got confused, so we'll just undo that. And I'm just kind of looking in here. Shift F5. So I can't go too close to that black line, but I really don't need to. So you can see in here, there's some imperfections. And that just knocked that out. There's some in here. And so you just keep going through, Shift F5. And again, it's just grabbing the stuff that's around it, and sometimes it'll grab some of the imperfections and put them inside. Just do it a couple times, it'll get rid of it. So let's come in here at this lasso tool. Shift F5. And you can see we're really cleaning this up already. So that's the yellow. So I'll keep going later and just keep going on and on with it and just keep cleaning up the yellow area. So like, look at, there's some lines in here. So we can get rid of those. See how that just vanishes and it just kind of merges with everything around it. There's a line right here. Those are gone. Again, sometimes it'll recreate the mistake and you have to do it a couple times. Just a little bit of trial and error, but in a big open area like this, it's really hard to screw it up. And if you do, you just Control Z it. So I'm just getting rid of all these lines. Okay. And then I'll continue with that later. So let's just kind of look around here and see if we can find some more imperfections. And this all looks kind of okay. So right here, there's a little something on this, around this bird. So let's kind of come in here really tight and get that. Hit Shift F5. Let's see if we can clean that up. Look at that. Perfectly gets rid of that and maintains the halftone that was there. So there's a little blotch right here. See this? And I'll just circle around it. Shift F5. And look at that. It recreated the halftone and everything. Let me kind of zoom in here so you guys can really see how effective this is. So you can see we have a halftone and there's this little blotch right here. And I'm going to circle it. All right, with my lasso, and then just do Shift F5, and bam, it's gone, and it recreates the halftone perfectly, like you never knew it was there. So Photoshop has really done a good job with this fill. Shift F5, and bam, look at that, that little hickey's gone. And there's a little imperfection right here. Let's see if we can get that. When it's really close to the edge, it's a little harder. Shift F5. That looks pretty good. I don't like that one. Maybe we could do that a little better. Let's zoom in on this and see if we can really get rid of this thing. I'm going to take my lasso tool. Just kind of get it on there. Shift F5 that. Look at that. Perfect. Super effective, awesome tool for cleaning up scans. And then over here, you can see this is a big mess in this area. Let me kind of zoom out a little bit. So right here, we got all these lines, and we can just kind of go in there and just circle everything like this. There's a big blotch there, and it's just gone. It's like it was never there. There's an imperfection right here, gone. And you can't really even tell. It's like perfectly recreating the halftone, because it's just matching the pattern it's seeing around it. So we have a blotch right here. So we'll just circle it, Shift F5, gone. So basically, I'm just gonna keep going, cleaning up everything. There's a big blotch right here. I'll circle that, Shift F5, gone. And it's already looking really good. A lot better than it was, and really, it's pretty much ready to print right now. So let's do the, so the levels are pretty good. I'm just kind of double checking them. So I'm going to keep going here, and I'm going to clean it up, and then we'll come back and then get it ready for print. Okay guys, we're all cleaned up here and we're ready to go to print here, and I feel pretty good about this. I think it looks really good. I am, however, wondering if my colors are a little too hot and bold, because I was looking again at this Classic Kate site who was selling these stickers before, and his colors look really muted. And I know it's just a photograph, there's really no way to know for certain, but my gut tells me that my colors might be just a little bit too hot, and I don't have anything really to use as reference, but I'm just guessing. And so I'm thinking we're gonna kind of put 2 of these on a sheet. Maybe I'll make another version, actually I already did, that has a little muted, I made the colors a little more muted. And all I did was I came in here and I just adjusted the hue and saturation. So I just went image, adjust, hue and saturation, and I just kind of just desaturated it a little tiny bit, and it just kind of brought the colors down, knocked them down just a hair, okay? And so I have that version over here, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put these on the same document, 2 on the same document, and that's what we're gonna send to Staples. And I just copied our muted version, and now I'm gonna I just pasted it over our brighter color version. And I don't know if the camera's picking it up here, but this one is a little hotter than this version. And so right now I'm just gonna kind of drag this to the top and just put it right next to it. And right now it's off the canvas, but if I go image, reveal all, it'll show, there they are. Okay, so I have 2 right next to each other. And so now I can send this to Staples just like this and have them print it 2 up. And my image size is less than 11 by 17 with both of these, which is good. So it's 15 1/4 by roughly 10 1/4. And so this will fit on an 11 by 17 document, which I know is kind of a standard size for Staples. And so they won't charge me extra to print 2. So that's good. Now, I did not add any bleed on this at all, and I did that on purpose, okay? Now, if you're gonna send this to a real printer like Rich at This Old Game, he's gonna have bleed requirements. He might say, I want an 1/8 inch bleed, okay? And the bleed is basically extra area that's beyond the artwork. That way, when he's die cutting this or cutting it, there's a little bit of a tolerance, okay? Because our product size is 15 1/4 by 5 1/8, okay? So that's the size it's gonna be cut to. But right now, if he just prints this out, his die cut or his tool needs to be exactly lined up, dead nuts on, no tolerance on the edge, and that's pretty much impossible. And you'll end up with white. So you want to kind of print beyond, a little bit larger than the product size, and that's what bleed is. And if I wanted to add bleed to this, it wouldn't be that hard to do. So right now, I'm just kind of copying this. So let's see, we have this image and this image, right? And what I did is I just copied the background and hit it, okay? So these 2 images, these 2 layers are on the top, right? And so if someone says they want an 1/8 inch bleed, so right now it's our product size, right? 15 1/4 by 10 1/4. So what I wanna do is make our canvas, so if we want an 1/8 inch bleed, we wanna make the canvas a 1/4 inch larger all the way around. So I would change this to 15 1/2 inches by 10 1/2 inches, okay? And now you can see we have a white border, which we don't want. We want to fill that in with black. So what I could do a couple things. We could attempt to match that black color. So I made a new layer right there, and I'm gonna fill that in with black, and that's not a very black. Let's see if we can kind of use it's probably gonna, there. So what I did is I used my eyedropper, and then I filled that background color in with the black color. And I want to do a little bit of spot checks here, though. Make sure there's no white lines or anything, and it's a nice transition from the artwork to our new bleed. And right here, it's really not. So it looks like I'm gonna have to just kind of fill that in. So if I were to get rid of this and select this top one, I can just kind of take my little selection tool and just grab the top of it and transform it out and drag it like so. And hit enter and deselect. And then you can see now if we zoom in, that line's gone. So that's really good right there. And then if we come over here, there's no lines. So that right there is with 1/8 inch bleed. Now we don't want that because I'm gonna send this to Staples. So I'm just gonna undo all that really quick, and we're gonna go back to our original canvas size, like so. And again, I'm purposely printing this with no bleed just to make my life easier, because I'm gonna take an X-Acto blade and cut this on the edge, and I can get fairly close. If I have to come in a 64th of an inch, I'm not worried about it, and I'm pretty good with the X-Acto blade and a ruler. So I'll come in and just cut this to size, and then we'll just come right down the middle for X-Acto and cut that in half, and we'll have 2 pieces. Now right now, this is in a Photoshop file format. Or at least it will be when you're working. I recommend saving it as a PDF, so I'm gonna go to File, Save As. PDF is a little bit more of a universal file, so I'm just gonna call this Staples, and I'm gonna select Photoshop PDF and hit Save. And then you're gonna get this dialog box. I always select press quality, okay? And you could turn off preserve Photoshop editing capabilities, but only turn that off if you're never gonna open that file again in Photoshop. Save it first as a PSD, and then turn off this preserve Photoshop editing capabilities, because if you leave that turned on, the file is gonna be really big. So I'm gonna turn it off, because this is the file I'm gonna email to Staples, and I've already saved a PSD original copy, okay? And so I'm doing save as Adobe PDF, press quality, and PDF is really the safest, especially when you're dealing with a place like Staples, where the people there aren't as bright, or they're not really graphic designers. They're basically gonna take your file and print it. They're gonna do no pre-press work, so you don't wanna send them the Photoshop file, because that might be a little tricky for them. So just send the PDF, it kind of just locks it in, and they can't really screw it up. So save as PDF, and that's it. So we have our file, 2 up, ready to go. I'm gonna email it to Staples. Go to staples.com. They have a little website. You can upload the artwork, select your paper size, and drop your artwork in there. So really, that's it. That wasn't too bad. I mean, we got lucky because we found a scan. You know, you don't always get that lucky, but you know, a lot of these scans are out there, but sometimes they're too low res. Again, we got super lucky here. The resolution on this was really good and high. So I'm pretty confident this is gonna print just fine at Staples. Because again, with digital printing, you can get away with 150 DPI, but I usually try to make everything 300. Even if that means scaling up a little bit in Photoshop, it's still gonna print fine. So, all right, so I'm gonna send this file to Staples, and then I'll go pick it up, and then we'll go to the garage and see what's going on with it and put our bezel together. So, all right, guys, I'll be right back, and then we're gonna go to the garage. All right, guys, we are back in the garage, and yes, I know it is a big mess out here. I have way too many projects. I need to clean it in here. But anyway, all right, so what are we gonna do? So, I got my printout from Staples, and I think they did a pretty good job. I didn't realize that they were going to trim it for me, and they did. They trimmed it to size. Now, I laid this out on a sheet of 11 by 17 paper, and they actually trimmed it to size. So we don't have to mess around with any of these edges, but we're going to have to cut it in the middle here. And actually, let me show you guys what's going on here with the iRobot. So you can see we're clearly missing the bezel. It is just naked. I hate it. So this is going to really dress it up, and really pretty easy to recreate. And I could have used the Firefox bezel over there as a template, but I didn't really want to pull that out and destroy it, because that has the original Firefox cardboard bezel. So I contacted Joey Kuda, who makes these cardboard bezels. He charges about 40 bucks. He's on Clove. He does a really bang-up job. I purchased one of these bezels from him for my 720, and he really does do nice work. I mean, really, he's just cutting a piece of a black, like matte, I think this is what they use for like picture frames. But he does a really good job, and he cuts them by hand. He's got all kinds of templates for every game, a lot of Atari stuff, and I'll probably be ordering one from him for Quantum, because, you know, I don't have anything for reference. And yeah, it's 40 bucks for a piece of cardboard, but really, he does a great job, and it really just saves me a lot of guesswork. And also, I didn't want to risk ruining my Firefox bezel. So I'm wondering how we're going to attack this. I think what we should do first is, I think I should cut this in half, okay? Now, I very lightly have a line in here. I put a little bit of space in between the two different instruction stickers here, and so I need to just cut a straight line right through it. And I did do 2 different kind of versions of it. This one, the red color, is a little richer. This one, the colors in general are stronger, and this one is a little toned down. I'm kind of thinking I'm going to go with the top one here. I think that'll pop a little bit more behind the tinted glass. Yeah, I think we'll go with that one. Now, this stuff scratches easy. You can see I've got some scratches here already, and that's just from driving it home from Staples. So be careful, because this stuff, the coating on here isn't very durable. So anyway, I'm going to come in here with an X-Acto blade, and we're just going to cut this in half, and we'll end up with 2 instruction stickers, and I guess we'll just put one on the shelf for a rainy day here. So I need to, actually, I'm going to take the plastic off this ruler. I never did. I don't know why. And I'm wondering right now if I want to spray mount, because we're going to spray mount this using Super 77. I'm wondering if I want to spray mount it to the cardboard bezel before I assemble it, or after I assemble it. It might be easier if we do it before. So, but we're gonna have to kind of visualize how it's gonna look, just so we know we're putting it in the right spot. So I gotta be kind of careful here because the line I have in between these two versions is very subtle, and I don't want this to be crooked. So let's just see. I think right about there. That looks pretty good. Yeah, right there. And I'm kind of using this as a guide here to keep this parallel with that. And we look pretty parallel. So I'm going to go ahead and just go for it. Okay, so we have our 2 instruction cards, and I think, ow, 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 ow. I just stabbed my finger. Just kind of nicked it. You know, when I was a kid, I used to do models all the time, model airplanes. And like my bedroom when I was a kid had like, had airplanes, you know, like helicopters hanging from the ceiling. I had like AH-64 Apaches and P-51D Mustangs all hanging from my ceilings, and my ceiling. And I would actually take the missiles from like the Apache helicopter, and I'd have that on its own separate string, and then I would take cotton and hang that from the ceiling and make like smoke trails coming from the missile from the helicopter. It was pretty cool. But anyway, I used X-Acto blades a lot as a kid, and I remember one time, I was homesick from school or something, and I was doing a model kit, and I don't remember what it was, you know, a Corsair 2 or something, and I dropped the X-Acto knife. I was using it to cut my parts, and I dropped it, and I went like this to catch it, and the thing went right through my finger like this. And it was so my mom had to come home from work and take me to the emergency room, and it just like went through my finger, and then I pulled it out, and I'm like, and then, but it missed everything, and I went to, so, yes, John was a clumsy kid, and John's a clumsy adult. So anyway, all right, so here's our 2 stickers. I think I like this one better. It does have a little bit of a scratch here, which kind of is a bummer. I don't know, maybe we will use this one. I think they're both really close. So yeah, let's use this one since it doesn't have a scratch on it. And so it's gonna go in this section down here, right here. So we have to spray mount it and center it in this area. And I'm thinking I should just center it pretty much in this section here. Yeah, I think that's all we really need to do. Now, because this is just a piece of paper and it's not a sticker, we're going to have to get some adhesive on here, and we're going to use Super 77, which is a really good adhesive. But I'm wondering if I should just kind of mark some lines on here, just so we have something to use as a guide when we place it on. And let me see if I can find a pencil. So let's see. So that looks pretty center. I wonder if I take a tape measure and we can kind of measure to make sure that's really truly centered in that area. I guess we could just use this ruler here. Let's see. So this right here is about, and yes, I know for you European guys, I should be using the metric system, shouldn't I? Let's come in here. So this, actually that was the metric side. Is that 1 centimeter? Half a centimeter? No, actually there is no metric on this. This is all imperial. This is inches with 8ths, and then this is inches with 16ths. I see. Okay. All right, so we're going to kind of just put it right here in the center. And I know this is pretty much common sense stuff here. But let's see, this edge here is pretty much exactly an inch to there. And let's see if we get the same on this side. Yeah, we do. So that's an inch on that side over there. So I'm going to go ahead and just mark my corners with this pencil. And that way I can use this as a guide when we're placing it. And that looks pretty flush on there. We're favoring the top a little bit, which I'm kind of okay with. Okay, so we've got some marks in the corners here. And so when we come in to place it down, we'll just use that as a guide. So we're going to come over here and let's throw some Super 77 on this. And you want to spray the part, not the where it's going to go. So we're going to spray our piece of paper and not the bezel. And I'm just going to shake this up really well. And our nozzle's a little clogged up here. Let me just ungum it up. Okay. So we're going to come in here and just put a nice healthy dose of this stuff on here. All right, and then I'm going to grab it. And you just be careful because this stuff is sticky and it gets on your fingers and then it sticks to the artwork. All right, so we're going to come in here. Okay, we have it all together here, and I think it looks actually really legit. I mean, that looks like the real deal there. Not bad, right? Come on. Not bad for staples. So, all right, I took the glass off, so let's put it in the game here, and let's really dress this thing up. And did I ever show you guys the painted black speaker holder? I think I did a pretty good job there. That looks pretty legit. And if I didn't tell you that wasn't original, I don't think you'd notice. Really. I think it looks really good. So, all right, let's get the bezel in here. So, I think we have it folded correctly. I don't know if it's going to go in this channel with the glass. I think it's going to go behind it. I'm not sure, but let's put it in the channel here and see if it can go in here with the glass. It might be too thick. I'm not positive. Yeah, I think it needs to go behind. So let's tuck this in behind the channel. Like so. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see what happens if we drop the glass in here with it just in the channel. But you can see already it's really dressed up. So let's go ahead and drop our glass in, and I'll clean the glass up later. It definitely has some fingerprints on it. So we gotta go like this, and then let's see if it can occupy the same space. I don't like how that feels. It feels a little tight. Because it has this glass channel on here. I think I need to tuck this in, the sides in behind the channel. Because the glass has like a plastic channel on the left and the right, but it doesn't on the bottom. Yeah, I think that looks a little more legit. So let's see if we can tuck this side in. There we go. That looks pretty good. So you can see there, it's tucked right behind the glass channel. So now let's slide our glass in. No problem. And then on the bottom here, I think Atari would have originally thrown staples in this thing. I'm not going to. That looks pretty good. And then let's go ahead. I mean, that looks legit, guys. And let's go ahead and put our glass, our little plastic glass channel in here. And then we'll put the marquee in above. And then we'll just drop the marquee in. And then we're all back together. So the marquee kind of wants to go behind the plastic. I don't want it to do that. There we go. Let's make sure it's all buttoned up. All right, guys, there you go. What do you think? Does that look legit? I think it does, actually. That really dressed it up. Because it was so naked before. You could see the wood and the monitor. It was just wrong. So that was the little touch it needed. And my God, we're that much closer now to getting this game into the basement. I know, we're doing too many projects at once. But, you know, once I get this control panel squared away, I think this thing's going down. I mean, I really need to address this down here, which shouldn't take me very long, and put some new T-molding on there. We do need to put some vinyl on the side over here. I actually have some black vinyl that we could repair that with. I don't think that'd be too hard at all, but the big problem right here right now is this, and I'm waiting for that guy on Clove to finish his reproduction vacuum form control panels. Now, I did buy some fiberglass. I was gonna try to patch this myself. I just haven't had the time to come out here, but anyway, we're that much closer. I love this cabinet. I mean, I think that Atari was onto something with this design. I really do. So, you guys want to play a quick game of iRobot? I haven't played this in a while, actually, because I've kind of moved on to other projects. Let's turn the light off. Maybe we'll just play a quick game and then go back down to the basement. It really is such a neat and different game. You know, it's its own thing. I haven't shown you guys this little drawing mode either. We'll do an in-depth video later. So, all right, let's do iRobot the game. And you know, this game, kind of like Pac-Man. Basically, I need to have the robot eat all of the red, and you cannot jump when the eye is looking at you, okay? And when we go over the red, we're kind of reducing his shield down. You see back here, it says 12. So every time we go over the red, it goes down. So his shield's down, we can jump to him, and then get that last piece of red. And by the way, this game is really playable in MAME. So this game still has some issues. There's an issue with the power supply, with the reset circuit, I believe, that is causing it not to save scores or settings. Because I replaced the NVRAM and it didn't fix the issue. And I think it's because of the power supply, because the power supply kind of tells the game when it's shutting down, and then the NVRAM does its save really quick while it's kind of dying, and I don't think that that's working right. So you cannot jump when the eye is watching you, as you saw right there. And you can change the camera view with the 1-player, 2-player buttons, which is pretty awesome. And the lower you are, the more of a bonus you get. So right now we're getting a 2.2 bonus. And we could fire and shoot those birds as we go across. And the eye came and killed me. Ah, the bird got me. But yeah, it's a cool game. You know, we'll do an in-depth iRobot gameplay video much later, but I'm just happy that the bezel's all together, because that was something I was looking for, and then I decided to just make my own piece of artwork, because I knew that Joey Kuda did the reproduction ones, but I was hesitant to order from him because I wanted the piece of artwork that went on here, so I was hoping to find an original, and you know what? This worked out just great making our own, so I'm really happy with that. So anyway, all right, so I think that's going to do it. Let's go back down to the basement. We'll do a couple viewer mails and get out of here, but so many projects, guys, and we got to really get back to work out here, because top priority right now is actually that Nintendo Versus cabinet. I have to have it done this week, and so we're going to be back soon working on that thing. But iRobot is that much closer to being done. I mean, I think we've actually did a lot to this, considering when we got it, it didn't work at all, and that monster of a power supply was just dead. We're not quite out of the woods with the power supply. I think the reset circuit's not working right, which is part of the circuitry, again, that kind of communicates with the PCB when the game is shutting down. It detects low voltages and tells the board to save scores. I think that's the problem. So anyway, all right, let's go back down to the basement. All right, guys, there you have it. What'd you think? I think it looks actually really good. It looks actually amazing, and I'm very happy. I was actually just out in the garage kind of admiring the work, and honestly, that image that was on the internet cleaned up really nice, and the resolution was really good enough, and so I think that was just fine, and I think using that raster image and not re-vectorizing it was the good move, and Staples actually did a good job. I mean, it cost me, I think, $10 or $15 for that artwork, to print 2 of them. I think it was $10. So that's very inexpensive, and it was a nice solution. And the Super 77, that adhesive spray actually works really well. And really, it's like a sticker now, and it looks original, and I'm happy. So iRobot is that much closer to being done. So, all right, so I want to do some viewer mail. I printed out 3 of them. And we'll do our best here to help you guys out. If you guys want to participate in the viewer mail segment, you need to email them to me at blkdog7@gmail.com. That's blkdog7@gmail.com. All right, the first one, and by the way, in the subject line, please put viewer mail. Okay, so the first one's from Matt in Erie, Pennsylvania. And Matt, I'll do my best here to help you, and this is going to be one of these emails where maybe the community can come together and give you a hand, because I'm not positive I know how to fix your issue, but we will try, okay? I've never had this exact issue. So, John, I have a Touchmaster 8000 bar top. Originally, it was a Merit Mega Touch 4. It has a monitor issue. I attached an image of what it's doing. It's a Duxan Type 20 13-inch monitor. The game PCB is working, but no knob adjustment fixes the monitor issue. Do you think it needs a cap kit, or is it possibly a flyback issue? Someone suggested it might be a yoke problem. I will say that when it did this first, there was a burning smell, okay? But no smoke that I could see. I tried turning it on maybe 15 to 20 times since this issue happened, and 2 or 3 times it would come on with the monitor looking perfect, and then after a couple minutes it would go to this. Any thoughts as to where I should start? Does this seem like a bad capacitor issue? Maybe a resistor? Thanks for all your videos and everything you show in them, Matt from Erie. All right, Matt, now listen, I have never experienced this exact issue, so anything I say right now is really truthfully guessing, okay? So you've got a white box here in the middle of the screen. It's not filling the screen. There's no image in there. Oh, what is causing that? Well, listen, I know that the cap kit is cliche, but we always should start there at least. But, you know, could this be a yoke issue? It could be a yoke issue. Could it be a B+ issue? I'm not positive. You might want to check your B+. Now, this monitor, I'll tell you, I don't know a thing about Duxan's monitor. So, you know, I always start with the simple stuff first. You know, I do the cap kits first. Will a cap kit fix this? I have no idea. But it's somewhere that you want to start. Now, you could have a bad tube as well. Which it could very well be a bad tube issue. So Matt, listen, I truthfully don't have an answer for you, okay? But if this was me, okay, if this was John with this issue, I'm always going to start with the cap kit because it's cheap. You know, it's $7, it's $10, whatever it is, you know. And you can go to bobroberts.com. I don't know if Ian Kellogg at iankellogg.com has the Duxan cap kits. I'm sure if you asked him, he could put one together. But, you know, I'd always start with that, you know. But you gotta start with the basics, okay? I don't know how to check the B+ on this monitor. Is this a voltage issue? You know, you might want to try that. But I don't know, man. I mean, you could have a bad tube. You could have a bad yoke. I honestly don't know, and I'm guessing. And maybe anyone that's watching this video can help him and can reply. Or better yet, start a thread on John's Arcade on the forum at johnsarcade.com, and maybe we can all work together. You know, I know, you know, I don't mind reading stuff like this where I don't know the answer, because someone might, okay, and we can all kind of work together, and someone might say something. I'm like, oh yeah, of course. And right now I'm kind of drawing a blank. I don't know where to start. You know, I always start with the basic stuff first, and you know, my approach is kind of shotgun. You know. And caps are easy to change, you know. And this is probably a really small chassis too, and I don't know how many caps are on it, but I would at least stop there. It's interesting though that if you turn it on and off, eventually it might work. You could have a cold solder joint too. You might want to pull the board out and reflow all the solder on the header pins. You know, maybe the video connection isn't quite right. I don't know, or the yoke connection isn't right. You might want to try moving those connectors to see if anything changes on the screen. So, Matt, I know I'm not really giving you a definitive answer. It's really hard to answer this kind of stuff without really being there. But hopefully there's some suggestions in there. Or again, make a thread at johnsarcade.com in the forum. So, Matt. And by the way, I threw my garbage can out. I can't throw this in there. The garbage cans were just old and dirty, and I had fruit flies down here. It was gross. I don't know what was going on. I don't know if we threw food or someone threw food in the garbage can, and it was one of these like folding type garbage cans. It was like I don't know, it made out of some plastic that was folded like an envelope on the bottom, and there was like crevices, and I don't know if food got stuck in there. And because I had fruit, the fruit flies are actually gone now since I threw the garbage cans out, so I need to get new garbage cans. Maybe you guys can find me some really cool garbage cans. I should get some badass garbage cans. Maybe I should get like some metal mesh ones so that it doesn't really encourage any kind of grossness to be thrown in it. All right, so next one's from Clive. Well, Clive asked me, "Are you putting out any videos soon?" He sent me this this morning. And yes, I know, I missed last weekend, guys. I got just busy with non-arcade stuff, and I was I felt guilty a little bit because I'm like, because Sunday I got home and I started just playing Xbox One. So next thing I know, the day's over. So it's gonna happen sometimes, you know. And so Clive, I'm a little behind, so I'm trying to catch up with this video. And I've been wanting to do this video for a good week here. Because I really wanted to get that iRobot bezel since I got it from Joey Kuda. So Clive says he enjoys watching the videos after work. You got me into Jump Bug, which I play on MAME. Emulation isn't perfect though. It's missing a few sounds, but not that bad and all the same. I didn't know that it was missing sounds in MAME. A few guys have said that. I didn't actually realize that because I played that game a bunch in MAME. And a bunch of guys have said that it's missing sounds in MAME. I never knew that. He says he managed to download MAME 0.139 and burn it, the whole set, and burn it to a 25 gig Blu-ray drive, 20 ROMs, so he's pleased. He says it runs straight off the disc. It's interesting. I didn't know you could do that. So when you're playing a new game, I can check it out on the disc. Keep up the good work. Oh, I'm not sure about that pinball you got. Although I see it's something you learn and tinker with, get a Ghosts and Goblins machine, he says, down in your basement. Oh, another great game is Rodland. I'm not sure about that. Cute game, but very playable. Check it out. Yeah, again, I've had a few guys tell me to get a Ghosts and Goblins. I really want a Ghosts and Goblins PCB, and I've been looking for one because I think that would be really fun to throw in my JAMA cabinet because I really do like Ghosts and Goblins. And that was a game that I played a lot as a kid at 7-Eleven. Like, I vividly remember playing Ghosts and Goblins at 7-Eleven, and the game just kicked my butt, and that was the challenge, and what was awesome about it, because it was hard, and when I was a kid, I for some reason, I really liked that. And that was kind of the charm of the older games. You put the quarter in, and the first time you play it, you get this far, and you're like, oh, and then you feel like the game beat you, and you put another quarter in, and next time you get this far, you're like, yes, I'm getting somewhere. I didn't see that part before. And that was the kind of the fun of it. And Ghosts and Goblin really captured the spirit of that hardness. And then I remember having it on the NES. Yeah, Ghosts and Goblin is badass. And I really want that PCB. I've been looking for a while, and they're really kind of stupid expensive. And then as far as the EM pinball, I had a lot of guys that like that a lot, or maybe think it's lame, and I understand that. But I think the EM pinball is going to be a fun thing to screw around with. And I'm going to tell you right now, that EM pinball is a low priority for us, okay? Because the high priority is Quantum and the Hogan's Alley right now. And then Franz is very, very close to fixing the Laserdisc player for the Firefox. So I'm super stoked about that. So assuming that the game works 1,000% once we put that Laserdisc player in there, and of course assuming Franz's work is good and the player arrives here in one piece, that Firefox is going to come right down in the basement, and that'll be one less game in the garage. Of course, I'll have to get rid of something down here. I've been thinking about the dartboard. I don't know. I go back and forth on that dartboard because, man, that thing really gets played when I have parties, and my neighbors love that thing. Like, they just love it. Like, the people who come down here and don't care about the video games, they play the dartboard. So, I don't know, there's something about, I know you guys hate the dartboard, but there's something about it, people like it. So, Adam Hill writes, congratulations on hitting the 20,000 mark, John. That's right, guys. We just hit 20,000 subscribers this week, and I just want to thank you guys for that, because that's a milestone that I've been trying to hit forever, and it's been a slow grind, but we did it. Slow and steady wins the race, right? So thanks, guys, very much for supporting me, and I'm blown away that we got to 20,000. And he says here, as a dedicated viewer, it'd be cool if you spent a little bit of time in the next video talking about what you thought when you first started YouTube. when you became serious about the videos and what your goals were and what you hope to have and to do in the future. The first 20,000 is the hardest. All the best, Adam. P.S. The cracking of the ice cold beer vault awaits. Remember we did that? I never was able to open the bottom of the ice cold beer over there because the ice cold beer has a coin door on the bottom that I was just never able to open up. So I don't know what's in there. It's a big mystery what's in the bottom of this coin door. Could be anything down here. So I've never been able to get that thing open. That would be kind of a fun video, wouldn't it? What do you guys think? You want to do that in a vid? I don't really have a good plan as to how to get that open because I've tried prying. I've put so much pressure on that. So anyway, he wants to know, like, you know, what I thought or my goals were about YouTube and when I started, what I was thinking. Honestly, I don't even know, guys. You know, the channel just kind of happened and I never really set out to do anything. I just started making little 1-minute videos in the beginning with my crappy little camera, and then, you know, people were responding, and of course that's very motivating to do more of them, and then people were responding some more, and so I just kept making them because people seemed to like them. And then what I really got into then was the production of it, trying to make them look really good and sound really good. And thanks to you guys, you know, with the donations, I was able to get a good microphone, and I invested in a good camera, and I kind of got a little better at video editing, and so I like this a lot, actually, because it kind of takes advantage of all my skills. You know, I especially like working, you know, I mean, I love video games. I love figuring out how stuff works and trying to fix it. I love that. I love artwork and painting and fixing and making something look pretty. I really like video editing. You know, I like the art of that. You know, I don't think I'm the greatest, but I'm getting better. I love graphic design stuff and doing those little, you know, my logos and stuff. And so it's kind of everything that I like, you know, and of course I love music and making music, and I make music for the videos that are just for the videos, and I enjoy all of it. So I don't really know, you know, he's saying what my goals are. You know, I mean, 20,000 was a goal. So, I mean, that was, I really wanted to get to 20,000, and we did. So thanks. And I don't know where we're going with this. I'm just reading, he says, when I became serious about the vids, what your goals were. I mean, it was just growing it was kind of a challenge. You know, I thought if I could just keep on top of it, I could grow it, and it's just kind of fun to watch it grow. You know, I don't know, again, where we're going or really what the goal is, but it's just, I guess it's the comments and the feedback and all the positive stuff that makes me want to keep doing it. And also, I like the end result because it kind of really gets me off my butt and gets me in the garage and really makes me get this stuff done. And the thing is, I still would be in this hobby doing these things, but I think the videos really kind of keep me on a schedule, you know, which is actually good, I think, and it's been fun. So I don't know. Did I answer your question? I hope so. So yeah, I don't know. It's just, it's fun. I like it. I like you guys. Thanks. So anyway, all right, guys, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to tune into my podcast, Video Game Outsiders at videogameoutsiders.com and Arcade Outsiders at arcadeoutsiders.com. Now, I know that we did do an Arcade Outsiders episode last week, okay? And I tried doing it on Google Hangouts. And I've done that before. We did VGO on Google Hangouts before, and it worked fine, okay? I did a bunch of those before as a streaming option, okay? We made the mistake, or I made the mistake, of playing a song during one of the breaks, and YouTube muted my video, okay? And so we lost all the audio, okay? And I don't know what to say about that. It is what it is, okay? And I'm bummed about it too, because I wasted 3 hours of my life recording a podcast that no one, including myself, can listen to. And yes, I didn't record it because we did it with Hangouts. I usually do my podcast with Skype, and I'm all set up to record Skype, and I've been doing that for 10 years. And Hangouts, I kind of rely on YouTube to record it, and then I take the audio off of there and put it on the feed. So we lost it, and I'm sorry. So the next time I do Arcade Outsiders, I don't know if it's going to be this week or in a couple weeks, I'm not going to use Google. I'm going to go back to Shoutcast, and we're going to stream it on a Shoutcast server just like we do VGO right now. So stay tuned. I will post at arcadeoutsiders.com when the next episode is. But in the meantime, listen to Video Game Outsiders at videogameoutsiders.com. That show is live every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. on the Riotcast network at riotcast.com/VGO, riotcast.com/VGO. So, and then I go to arcadeoutsiders.com. I will be posting there when the next show is going to be and how to listen to it. And right now, just let me figure this out, and we're going to settle into a new schedule, and just let me get through this, okay? Believe me, okay? I know you guys want the show back, and I want it to come back, but I got to just get through this. There's a little bit of transitional pains right now, so, and I'm bummed that we lost that episode on YouTube. And if someone recorded it, let me know, because I'll gladly take that file from you and put it on the feed. So, anyway, all right, that's it for this episode. I'll see you guys really soon. Hope you liked the graphic. Was the video okay? The quality with Photoshop and the camera? I'm wondering. I haven't edited that part of the video yet, so I'm curious how it looked. But anyway, all right, guys, that's it. We're done. I will see you guys very soon. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. Tell your friends all that stuff. Later, and bye.